Job interview in the middle of nowhere. This happened to me in 2016, but I was having trouble sleeping tonight and my brain dredged this up from my memories. I had recently moved back to my college town so I could rent an apartment with a friend after a long-term relationship ended. I was doing a lot of job hunting for pretty much anything as I was pretty desperate for income and unsuccessful with finding work within my career field. I was using multiple job sites but mostly Indeed because I liked their website features that help you track which jobs you've applied for and their status. There were of course some jobs that I applied for on their own websites but I kept track. After a couple weeks of searching I get a call. I don't recognize the number and the area code wasn't familiar but I pick up as it might be a job prospect. A woman is on the end and she says that she's calling to set up an interview as I had applied for their company. The company's name was not something that I remembered applying for. While on the phone with her I quickly pulled up Indeed on my laptop and looked through all of the jobs I had applied for. None matched. I have no idea what this job is but don't make this apparent on the phone, as I've been job searching for weeks and am still unemployed. I ask her for the address of the building and write it down. Looking back I can't remember the name she gave me but what I do remember was how pushy she was into scheduling the interview for later that evening. I agree to the interview and thank her but as I hang up I get a very bad feeling. Something doesn't seem right so I Google the phone number and it's not linked to a company. I Google the address and it's also not affiliated with a company. It's from way outside the distance of jobs that I was applying for, almost an hour away from where I lived. I pull up Google Street View and all I can see for the address she gave me is several smaller run-down buildings with a highway exit in the distance. It looked desolate. I pictured myself driving there around dusk when she scheduled the interview and I could physically feel this sensation of dread settle in me. I didn't want to go. I brought all of this up to my roomie at the time and he said I might be overthinking it but if I wasn't comfortable with it to not go. I am so glad that I didn't go. The more time passes the more I'm aware of just how shady it was. In hindsight I wish that I had gone to the police. But I didn't at the time because the year prior I hadn't had much faith in them. I had tried to get a restraining order before for an ex who was telling me to kill myself and harassing me from burner numbers. Who knows what could have happened if I had gone. It's a scary thought. The job interview. Before I begin I should state this was a few years ago and I'm a tiny woman. Back at this time I looked like a teenager so I've always been mindful that I seem an easier target or easier to fool. I had seen a job interview for a small business looking for a secretary, no experience needed as they would provide on the job training and as that's the kind of thing I was looking for I applied. I heard back quickly and was invited to an interview. When I arrived I was excited. It was a bit of a journey from my home but it was in a beautiful old building on the 3rd floor with a modern layout inside though you could tell it was very new as it was bare bones and very little had been unpacked. Still though if you have to work somewhere might as well be in a nice building right? Anyway. The interview seemed normal. I only encountered female members of staff, and they were all warm and lovely. The woman interviewing me was amazing and even sat talking to me for a while after getting to know me. When I get home I wasn't in the door long before I got a phone call from them. I nailed the interview. Awesome I thought and I was offered the job. I was about to accept when I was told on the phone, okay you'll come here tomorrow and we'll have the van drive you to where you'll be working. And I was like, a what? Confused about what they meant. They then told me I'd be meeting with customers on their behalf and talking. Selling stuff. I was not comfortable with this as it wasn't what I was interviewed for but I gave them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they had a second position they thought I'd fit in better with. It wouldn't be that weird as a new company and while not what I was comfortable with I should hear them out. So I ask more questions and the woman on the other end of the line is getting more snippy and tense. Gone was the nice friendly woman from earlier and she would not reveal where I would be going or who I would be meeting. By this point plenty of red flags were going off so I said no thanks to her offer. For anyone curious about what happened after, I reported this as it seemed very dodgy, but when they were checked in on the floor was no longer occupied by them. They'd apparently just rented it for a week and were gone. So to the people who interviewed me, let's not meet again. The job interview that never was. I have just been reminded by my FB memories of this encounter I had 5 years ago, so I thought I'd go ahead and post this here. 5 years ago I was a backpacker who had just newly arrived in Melbourne, Australia. It was on my 5th day in the city and I spent my mornings applying to every job offer that matched my skill set and spent my afternoons exploring the new city. By that point I was nearing the end of my stay in Australia, as I had about 4 months left of a 2-year visa. I had met all kinds of people during my travels and experienced a few characters, but this one still stands out to me. Many years later, my job search was quite broad. I had done my farm work, a few shifts in the hospitality industry, and had a trial lined up as a retail assistant. Unfortunately, that trial fell through as the guy only paid me about $40 for a whole day's worth of work, so I realized that there's probably better paying and more secure jobs out there which, you know, are also not illegal or with dodgy employers. My background from back home, Germany, is administration and office management within the IT industry. I had done well in the past, managing to get positions that normally wouldn't consider backpackers, so this was my aim for Melbourne. I applied for heaps of admin assistant roles, any type of entry-level office management, executive assistants, personal assistants, receptionists, you name it. I signed up to several recruiting agencies to increase my chances. I came across this one ad that was looking for an executive assistant to a senior leadership management position. Nothing looked out of the ordinary. It contained a full description of the role. It stated the company. It was a smallish legal firm. I also applied for around 50 jobs, so by that stage they all just blended in together. So off I went. I wrote a cover letter, attached my CV and applied. About 7 minutes later, I received a call. It was the management member himself, calling me directly. That was strange to me. Can't say I have come across that very often. Maybe just a small company, I thought. The conversation went as it normally would for the first 5 minutes. He introduced himself as John Smith, then talked about the position and the expectations. Then, it got weird. Here is the dialogue: J for John, M for me. J: you would be required to wear a uniform. Is this okay with you? M: yep, totally fine. J: we will get you to try on the uniform when you come in for your interview. I will order it now. What is your size? M: oh, my tops are size L and for the pants XL will do. J: so you're bigger then? M: yup. J: do you know your waist measurements? How much do you weigh? M: aim, just XL for pants, that is usually fine. J: and top? What's your bra size? M: that is an awfully personal question for an interview. J: is it like double D or something? I need to know as your superior. I want to get it right. Are you free for an interview today? M: okay. I thought this was very strange, of course. I had my creepy encounters with Australian men, but rarely in a professional setting. I agreed to the interview, as I was desperate for a job and had no others lined up. He said he'll text me the address. He called me back about 5 minutes later. J: are you free for an interview today at 9 p.m.? I'd like to discuss this with you over dinner. M: oh, I am so sorry. I would have had dinner at this point, but I can still come and meet you. J: okay. Do you drink? M: yes, I prefer to drink only a little though. J: what will you be wearing? What are you wearing currently? Have you got proper interview clothes? M: I do have proper interview clothes, yes. I don't see how what I am wearing right now is relevant. J: do you realize you have to really impress me tonight? I mean, you really have to. I'm sure you have done that before, impressing your boss. I said yeah, sure, and he proceeded to text me the address. I looked it up. It was about 40 minutes from the company's official address listed on their website, and a train station. Needless to say, all my alarm bells were going off, but I was still determined to go because I was running low on savings. I decided I'd go early and scope out the train station. Is the area well lit? Are there routes to escape? Are there people around? Are there shops/bars nearby? While I was researching the address, he called me again. J: do you drink? M: yes. As I have said before. J: now, tell me exactly what you will be wearing. M: sir, I really haven't decided. J: okay then. I require you to send me a photo of you right now. See you tonight at XYZ train station. M: I am sorry, my camera is broken, but I will see you tonight. My camera wasn't broken. I just wanted to get off the phone ASAP. About 3 hours before the interview, I got on the tram and took the hour journey to the train station. On the way there it got quieter and quieter, until eventually no more people were around, even shortly after rush hour. I wore a hard-to-rape outfit, Messaged a few friends where I was going and who I was meeting. Finally, I decided a job wasn't worth my life, so I texted him that I was very uncomfortable meeting him in this location this late and it didn't seem professional to me. He replied that I was missing out and that I'll regret it. I blocked his number and went back into the city. It's still the strangest encounter I've had, and I am so glad I never met this guy. In hindsight, I wish I had contacted the company about him, but alas, as a backpacker in her early 20s, this never occurred to me.